The law. It prevents us from doing cool stuff like driving really fast, graffitiing on walls, and stealing PlayStation 5s that have no games from Currys. For the fine folks of Lawrence in the state of Kansas, however, the law prevents them from doing the coolest thing of all, owning a pet hedgehog. Although I should say prevented them, as that law has long since been overturned thanks to a genuine hero, somebody who knew right from wrong, who stood up against the establishment, somebody who gave the inspiring quote, "If you're a kid, if you don't like a law, if you feel it's unfair, change it," and actually went and did just that. I'm of course talking about Judson King, an at the time 11-year-old kid. Alright, time for a history lesson. At some point in the past, the city of Lawrence's government made it illegal to own hedgehogs as pets, considering them to be exotic animals. Why did they do this? When did it happen? I don't know, I couldn't find any information, legislation, or anything with an answer to those questions online, but that's not too important to this story. The point is, they did it. So when an 8 or maybe 9-year-old Judson is playing Sonic the Hedgehog games, he thinks, ooh, I'd actually quite like a pet hedgehog. And what does any child do when they want something? They ask their parents, which is exactly what Judson does. And his mother replies, "What the fuck is a hedgehog?" Because she didn't even know that they existed. And it's understandable, there aren't any hedgehog species native to North America, making them a rare sight in the USA. What's more, after doing some research into hedgehog ownership, his mum learns that doing so is illegal in their city. Phew, thinks Judson's mum, now we never have to talk about that ever again. But then Judson says 6 words that immediately change everything. How do we make them legal? This led to 3 years of research, gathering pictures, looking through laws, anything that can help build the case against the illegality of domesticated hedgehog ownership. You can bet that Judson and his mum included it. They did this every single night, until finally, the commissioners of Lawrence City Hall allowed Judson to present what he'd found and his reasoning. He showed up in a suit and tie, and according to his mother, delivered everything like a pro. Even the city's mayor at the time, Mike Denver, was impressed, saying, "It was amazing. One of the best laid out arguments that I've seen since I've been on the commission the last 2 years." Another commissioner, Sue Hack, stated that,
I loved having him. I think he ought to run for commission in April.
with Judson's presentation done, the city staff looked through everything to try and find a reason as to why hedgehogs were illegal in Lawrence. And what did they find? Nothing. They had no idea why. Concerns were raised in the past that hedgehogs might catch or spread foot and mouth disease, but that was about it, and those worries were rarely mentioned. So they reached out to Kansas's state regulators about the law, and were pretty much told, yeah, there's no reason for them to be illegal, to be honest. And that was that. It took commissioners until December 2008 to make hedgehogs legal in the city, because governments take fucking forever to do anything that's actually important, but finally, they did. And then, on Christmas Day, Judson received the present that he'd spent 3 years of his life to legally receive, a pet hedgehog that he named Little Luke, after his uncle. Afterwards, Judson's story went pretty viral, being featured on major news outlets like CBS, CNN, and The Colbert Report, the latter of which made fun of Judson on national TV, on his birthday no less. How do I know that? Well, remember back in my video on the fan art contest that Sega held for Sonic and the Black Knight, where Antonio Minieros saw my original tweets about the whole debacle? Sure enough, Judson did the same thing. I asked him if he'd be able to answer a few questions I had, to which he said yes, and I forgot to actually send him the bloody questions. Look, I don't want to be that guy who replies to a 4-month-old tweet, so I'm gonna quote some questions and answers that were made in his reply. When asked about the process and his mother's response to the whole thing, Judson stated, "My mum pretended she didn't want me to get the hedgehog, but after seeing how much it meant to me, she was the most supportive parent ever. She did basically everything. She pretended like she didn't want me to get a hedgehog, but without her help and support, I never would have even thought to do anything." In regards to Little Luke, he explained that, "I named him Little Luke after my uncle. I can't remember why I didn't name him something Sonic related, but it was probably because I didn't want to seem unoriginal or something. Who knows, I was 10. Little Luke passed away a while ago, sadly. They don't live all that long, which is a shame. He was a good boy, even if he was a huge curmudgeon." One user wondered if he owned any hedgehogs nowadays, to which Judson replied, "Unfortunately no. They're great animals in their own way, but I have a cat I love and I wouldn't want to put a hedgehog in a constant state of fear from a predator. Plus, you wouldn't believe the amount of poop those small animals can generate." When talking about owning one and the experience of it, he stated, "It was honestly pretty meh. He was very cute, but they're not your average pet. They're nocturnal, so they'll only really want to interact at night. They're not very intelligent animals, so you'll have to keep a constant eye on them, and they poop all over their exercise wheels. And that's pretty much the story of how a Sonic fan, with the help of his mother, got an entire city to change a law. I'm not sure what Judson is up to nowadays, but I really hope that he's doing well, and continuing to try and overturn laws so that he can own things that are illegal in his city. With that said, see you in the next video! Or maybe I won't, I don't know, do what you like, I'm not your fucking mum, get out of here will you? Go outside and touch grass, just fuck off.